Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it is, wherever you are tuning in. Thank you so much for joining me today. This next episode of A Voice from the Ever Change. Now, if you've been tuning in to the Facebook Live sessions or through Instagram or YouTube, you might know this title, A Voice from the Ever Change, from a previous series that I offered. Where I was reading poems from the book that I wrote entitled A Voice from the Ever Change. This is a different series. I'm no longer reading poems, at least not regularly. I might do one here or there. But I'm calling this A Voice from the Ever Change. It's kind of like a part two of this series. Where I'm going into great depth into the practices of change and impermanence. These practices are mainly coming to me from Tibetan Buddhism or Tibetan meditation studies. I've been studying Tibetan meditation practices since about 2003. And I really love the practices of change and impermanence, and I find them so incredibly healing in this particular world climate where there is so much change happening. It's so clear how the things that we once thought were permanent or would be permanent or might be permanent, how we once found our ground in these places that we consider to be home are no longer in existence, or at least in a pretty extraordinary state of change. So change is very accessible right now for most people, including myself. So I thought it would be a good idea to offer these meditation practices on change and impermanence. Now, today will be a guided meditation. I gave a rather exhaustive introduction to this practice on Thursday evening, if you're in America, or Friday here in Asia. That was the last episode which I did, so if you'd like, you can scroll down on Facebook or YouTube or Instagram and find the previous episode if you'd like a full introduction. Now, you don't have had to have seen that to receive great benefit from the offering I'm doing here today, but it might be used as an accessory. So you can watch this practice, stay with me here, follow along with the guided meditation, and then review the introduction later in the day or tomorrow or whenever is comfortable for you. So before I do get into the guided meditation, I do have a few very exciting announcements to make. I am offering an online meditation retreat. This is based on the practice which I designed entitled Such Sweet Thunder. This runs from October 17th to November 14th. Now, although it is a retreat format, I won't be expecting people to meditate hours and hours a day. It's designed so that one can engage in as much of the practice or as little of the practice as is comfortable for your current working situation or your current schedule. So we'll be meeting just twice a week on Saturday evenings and Wednesday evenings. Now that is 7 p.m. Pacific Coast time. Which is this time, 9 a.m. here in Thailand. So do adjust accordingly if you want to sign up for the retreat to figure out the time zone where you are and then inquire about joining. Now, this is being offered through my own website and Contemplative Light, which is a really wonderful meditation or contemplative website. Where they're offering lots of great teachings from many different traditions on awakening. So if you're not familiar with Contemplative Light, do go visit their website. They've got lots of great resources there. my website as well, suchsweetthunder.org. So again, we'll be meeting twice a week. If you can't make, say, the Wednesday evening sessions, or you have to miss a couple of the sessions, it'll all be recorded. So the thing to do then is to sign up for the retreat. Let me know which ones you're going to miss, and then I will send you links to the video of the session. And you'll have access to that. So you'll be able to catch up on your own time like that. So not to worry if you have to miss a couple of sessions or even every Wednesday. Not a big deal. We'll keep you updated as we go. So this will be a great way to deepen an already existing meditation practice. Or if you're new to meditation, this will be a really great way to engage in a very thorough mindfulness practice where we bring mindfulness and awareness to the entire present moment and learn to embrace the present moment with loving kindness. It's a beautiful practice. Now, in addition to that announcement, I'd also like to inform people that I am currently accepting applications for one-on-one studies. So if you'd like to study with me personally one-on-one through Skype or Messenger or Zoom, this is a great way, again, to deepen a meditation practice. It allows me as the teacher to cater to the individual's needs, questions, and perhaps imbalances that might be arising through a meditation practice. I can tailor the practice to meet the individual's needs. So I really enjoy the one-on-one format for that reason. Primarily, although there are many advantages to working with a teacher-student one-on-one relationship. So for more information about that, again, you can visit my website, suchsweetthunder.org/online studies. And you can visit the website for other resources as well. I have published articles there. The 2 books that I've written are available on the website. Also, I have podcasts through iTunes and Spotify, also available on suchsweetthunder.org. Okay, enough announcements, on to impermanence. So there is a key phrase to the practices of change. And that key phrase, and it might sound rather over-obvious, but the key phrase is everything changes, nothing stays the same. And so I like to offer that just up front, and so we can keep coming back to that. So if you find you get distracted during the meditation, recognizing that you're distracted, you come back to the meditation practice, then you can remind yourself everything changes, nothing stays the same, including our focus of awareness. So even the distraction and the return during the meditation practice can be seen as an example of change, an example of impermanence. So in this practice, this is stage 1 of 3 stages of the practices of change and impermanence. Here we meditate on, through visualization, all of the external changes that we experience in life. And we start as far away as we can imagine: the stars, the galaxies, the planets, the celestial bodies. Meditating on the changes that are happening on that level. And we get closer and closer and closer and closer and closer until we're experiencing all of the change that's happening in our day-to-day experience, moment-to-moment change in the world. And then we will rest in that, visualizing all of that change that's happening all at the same time. Now, it is happening all at the same time, even though some things that we'll bring into this visualization, mountains, for example, or planets, they might change over the course of centuries. Their change can be very, very minute, almost indetectable, but they are changing. The walls around you right now are changing. This chair that you're seated on right now, or this mat or cushion, is changing. It's breaking down. The molecules are always changing, always fluctuating. Then holding that stage or that level of fluctuation and taking into account all of the other fluctuations, for example, the fluctuations of sound cascading through your awareness. That's a very rapid type of change. So that's happening at the same time as the very slow, incremental, minute changes that are happening. It's all happening all at the same time. And so we'll rest in that for maybe a minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes. Not sure how long yet. We'll see when we get there. And then I pose what's known as a pointer question. The question is, where is the perception of change taking place? And so when we ask this question in the silence of meditation, we're not trying to answer that question necessarily, but it's really designed to point your awareness or to guide your awareness wherever your awareness may want to go during the meditation. We don't try to control that. Just say, in the silence of meditation, we just allow this question to arise and see what happens. Then we'll end the meditation there. Okay, I think that's all I want to say right now. So enjoy this beautiful meditation on impermanence and change. So allowing the body, mind, and heart to rest. Right now, you don't need to entertain the past. You don't need to pursue the future. You don't need to dwell on the present. Simply allow the body, the mind, and the heart to rest. And as you rest, you might notice sensations of breath entering and leaving the nose. You might notice the breath as it touches the back of the throat, and perhaps simply noticing the temperature changing from cooler to warmer on the inhalation to exhalation from the nose and the back of the throat. You might also notice the rib cage expanding and contracting with each breath. The rising and falling of the abdomen as you inhale and exhale. You might also notice the back moving out as you breathe in and in as you breathe out. The shoulders rising and falling with each breath. And while resting there with the experience of breathing, you might also notice sensations of feet against the mat or the floor. You might notice sensations of clothing against the legs. Noticing the weight of the body seated against the cushion or chair, mat or floor. There might be sensations of clothing against the back. You might notice the hands resting against the body or touching each other. The arms resting against the body. You might notice sensations of clothing against the shoulders. There might be sensations arising at the back of the neck and the sides of the neck. Sensations arising from the back of the head and the ears. You might notice sensations arising from the cheeks of the face, the lips and the nose, the eyes and the forehead. Noticing any sensation arising from the top of the head. And if at any time during the meditation you become distracted by thoughts, labeling those thoughts with the word thinking will help the thoughts to dissolve. And you can gently return back to the present moment. And while resting with the breath and the body, you might also notice the sounds of the present moment. Not focusing on any one sound in particular, but noticing and resting in the entire field of sound. And in addition to the field of sound, you might also notice the backdrop of silent stillness within the present moment. Perhaps noticing how each sound cascades through the silent space. And so we'll rest right there, maintaining open, spacious awareness on the sensations of the breath and body, silence and sound, and just rest. And now, while resting in this present moment experience, allow a visualization to arise in the mind's eye. Visualizing the galaxies, the stars, the planets. You You might see some asteroids or meteorites. This image can be as vivid or as vague as you're comfortable with. You might even just contemplate rather than visualize all of the change that's occurring as far as the imagination will let you in the celestial stars, celestial bodies. Perhaps noticing meteorites crashing into each other, planets being born, spinning at dizzying speeds, accumulating mass over countless eons and eons. Then a nearby star exploding, swallowing not only that planet, but several other planets, creating a black hole. And as you breathe in and breathe out, just spend a few moments visualizing the ever-changing field of the outer space, galaxies, stars, planets. And now, while breathing in and breathing out, allowing this visualization to shift or expand to include planet Earth, or Mother Gaia, if you prefer. Noticing the change in the oceans on the planet. This can be day-to-day changes of tides rising and falling, storms passing over the great and mighty Pacific Ocean or the Atlantic, huge waves cresting and breaking. Or this might be change in the heights of the oceans over the course of hundreds of years. Perhaps visualizing the ocean that was once in the middle of North America receding, giving birth to the Grand Canyon, the great rock formations in Sedona, Arizona, Utah, Colorado. You might also visualize changes in mountains, volcanoes erupting all over the world, in Japan and Bali, Hawaii, Italy, North America. Over the course of centuries, volcanoes have erupted, giving birth to new landmass. At the same time, old landmass dissolving into the ocean or being buried by volcanic ash. You might visualize lakes drying up and refilling season after season. Rivers which flow steadily for hundreds of years and then, without warning, dry up, only to relocate a few hundred yards away a few years later. And all of this change happening on Mother Gaia, or planet Earth. And allowing this contemplation to expand again to include plants and trees, all of the changes that happen season to season, the colors that change, the leaves that fall, giving birth to new buds, new leaves, new plant life. Constant change that's happening with the plants and trees, the shrubs, forests, the meadows. Even these vast forest fires of late, leaving tremendous amounts of ash, which become fertilizer for other forms of life. The constant cycle of birth and death, order and chaos. Allowing this contemplation to expand again to include animals, mammals, birds and reptiles, fish and insects. We know that dinosaurs once inhabited this earth. Huge skeletal remains and fossils which allow us to visit a time long ago. Recognizing the change that happens today through evolution, through animals, species that become extinct, other species are born and reborn. Just came across a news article which re-established a species of frogs. Whales migrate, dolphins, birds migrate year after year in different and similar patterns according to climate change. Contemplating all of the change on that level. Then allowing awareness to expand again to include empires, countries, nations, and governments. Noting how empires through human civilization have arisen: the Byzantine Empire, the Roman Empire, the Greek Empire, the British Crown, which once held countries all over the world, now reduced to a small island. Structures which once have must seemed impermanent, and then permanent, then impermanent again. The stages of birth, lifespan, and death. We saw in human civilization the arrival of the great mother religions, which ruled the earth for hundreds of years, fading away and giving rise to a patriarchal religion. which might be now on its decline. Everything which arises crumbles. This is the law of nature. There's nothing personal. This is the quality of the life which we live in. We might also contemplate how governments have changed, countries were born, human rights might have changed, legal structures may have changed, the languages may have changed and fluctuated, evolved over hundreds of years. Fashions in those countries change. Fads, artistic forms may have changed. Music changes, evolves. Philosophies arrive on the scene, stay for a while pretending to be all so important, and then crumble when they no longer serve the stories they once told. As we rest in this meditation, allowing our awareness to expand further and further, including more and more change, we include the changing seasons. As the incredible heat of summer gives way to a brisk and crisp autumn day, leaves falling, crunching underneath our feet as we bring out the winter coats. The first snowfall, the ground frozen underneath our feet, slush seeping through our shoes, drenching our socks, turning on the heat in the apartment or house, the smell of a wood-burning fire. The holidays come and go. Finally, the thaw arrives and spring flowers blossom through the snow. Eventually, the crops give birth to food, to rice, to corn, to wheat. Harvest time comes, and summer is upon us. Seasons of change. Day by day changes, the changes that occur in our workplace. We may have started these sessions on Skype or Facebook Live, and then into Zoom, and then podcasts. You might have started your education career doing mathematics on one of those very arcane tools where you move beads across strings. I forget what they're called. To a calculator, to a computer. Maybe before long we'll have microchips implanted where we do math on a microchip implant in the brain. Constant change. Change in relationships. Noting how our relationships fluctuate. Finally, recognizing the moment-to-moment change right now. How the sounds cascade through the silent space of the present moment, illustrating change. how your awareness might fluctuate throughout this meditation practice. The sensations of your body might move from pleasant to unpleasant to neutral throughout the meditation and throughout the day. You might notice, if your windows are open, a light or shadow shift throughout the course of this hour presentation. Your body might shift and change from satiated to hungry or thirsty. Contemplating all of the changes that happen moment to moment throughout the day. And so we'll rest right here, maintaining open, spacious awareness in this present moment. Changes, contemplating impermanence fully, deeply, the implications, how everything changes, nothing stays the same. As far away as you can imagine, the stars, the galaxies, and the planets, to the moment-to-moment change in your day-to-day existence. Everything changes, nothing stays the same. And if you get distracted by thoughts or emotions during this practice, gently return back to the present moment contemplation of impermanence, and recognizing that the distractions too are an example of the impermanent nature of awareness, of attention. Return back, contemplating impermanence far and wide and near, and rest. And while holding this contemplation of impermanence, changes in the planets, oceans, plants and animals, the empires and countries, change in our fashions and philosophies, weather and seasons, changes in our relationships, and moment-to-moment change in the world. While contemplating that, contemplate where is the perception of change taking place. is the perception of change occurring right now? Don't try to answer this question, but allow the question to guide your awareness. So thank you for joining me today for this guided meditation on impermanence and change. This was the first practice, or the first stage of 3. Today we explored change in the external experience. Stage 2, we explored change in the physical experience of the body. And stage 3, we explore change in the mind and the heart, like that. So my next offering, which will be on Thursday evening in the Americas, Friday morning here in Asia, I'll be giving a Dharma talk on change of the physical body and how that practice unfolds. So I hope you'll be able to join me for that. If you have any questions, I know these practices on change and impermanence can be unexpectedly challenging. And sometimes complex emotions can arise. The human nervous system isn't really designed to encounter change in this way. We're designed more to seek out permanence, seek out safety. And that's actually, many evolutionary psychologists believe that that's a part of our DNA. It's one of the reasons why we've survived so long, is we're programmed to seek out permanent places as a safety experience, or as a way of survival, as a survival tactic. So we're going against that. We're rubbing against that grain, so to speak, to really allow us to experience, reality in a deeper way. Because we know through our science nowadays that everything is changing. We can all agree on that. But we don't really usually take the time to experience change on a visceral level. So once we start to turn and embrace the visceral experience of change, our outlook and relationship to life changes in a pretty dramatic way sometimes. So that can give rise to questions, concerns, comments. So please do feel free to message any questions you might have about these practices, any concerns. You can either leave them as a comment underneath the video or message me through private messenger. And I'm really always happy to receive that type of inquiry. It allows me to know how I'm connecting with people as well. Okay, stay safe, stay clean, stay healthy. And I look forward to seeing you all at the next episode of A Voice from the Ever Change, which will be again on Thursday evening or Friday morning. Have a safe and good week.